And guess what? I wrote down all those things and I did it in 1 year because whatever you visualize, you materialize if you truly believe in it. And I would do this every year and I would get whatever I want. In fact, I got the Rolex, I got the boat, I got the Porsche, had money in the bank, and I told the universe I want to be debt free. I didn't tell him I wanted to file bankruptcy. I forgot about that. But guess what? I was debt free. Here, if you're an employee, if you're working for an employee and you dream of becoming, doing real estate and you're still hanging out with employees, you're going to be an employee. If you start hanging out with entrepreneurs and you learn from that entrepreneurs, you're going to be an entrepreneur. If you want to hang out to business people, I don't think I wasted my time. I think I needed that part, that piece of the puzzle for myself so I could continue on to different other projects that I could come together. Now I'm very confident of what
Hello and welcome to the Dream Start Own podcast. I'm your host, Edgar the Connector, and today we got Derby Perez on. Welcome, Derby.
I'm doing. Thank you so much, Edgar. And, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited. And yeah, let's get with it.
Thank you for making time out of your busy day. I know you recently were dealing with the hotel deal you were trying to get some funding for, but it fell through. Tell us about that.
Well, you know what? I started about 4 or 5 months ago. One of my real estate agents that used to work for me told me about this hotel, and it was about 6 months ago. And we started going over there, doing the due diligence, and really getting into the meat and potato of the hotel. I talked to the owner, and we struck up. We had a very good connection and it was a great deal. It was a $3.5 million hotel, 172 units. Also, on top of that was 30 units included with a event hall, 11,000 square feet with 220 car parking, and also 10 commercial spaces. Out of the 10 commercial spaces, there were three restaurants out of it. So it was a pretty big, big hotel. And I fell in love with the hotel because it was built in 1852. And the beautiful part about this is that a lot of presidents, 11 presidents, have stayed at the hotel, including Kennedy was there, which is really, really nice. And so it has a lot of history, a lot of old world charm, the hotel. So when I went over there, I connected with her. I flew down and I went through the hotel. And I've been there, I want to say maybe 4 or 5, close to 6 times I was there and doing the due diligence. But something odd happened is that she wasn't signing the contracts and she was not signing at least an LOI to show that she was serious in selling. Now, the hotel was condemned. And could I tell you, Edgar, why is that a good thing for me as a person going into this hotel? Not good for her because she was selling the hotel for $3.5 million. She wasn't selling it for 10 million, 6 million, 7 million, which the building and the hotel is worth it. However, she had a condemned status, so nobody could get financing for it. So when I went to the building, I said, man, this is really good. And one of the key things that I was putting together is getting federal funding. Federal funding, tax credits. I'm minority, I'm Hispanic. So I was doing the Hispanic Hispanic things that they give you. They give you these grants, and one thing that I noticed is that in the United States they give you up to 47% of your renovations. Up to 47%, they give it back to you. But you cannot do anything until you get the paperwork done with the government. So I hired somebody, a professional person that does all the grant writings and make sure that I get all that approved. It was going to take about 6 months. So guess what? I wasn't going to do anything for 6 months waiting for those grants to go through. And in that time, I was going to look at the hotel. I got contractors, did my due diligence, went there 2, 3 times to look at the structure of the building. Everything was fine because I do have the experience for it. And I, I have the experience. I've been doing real estate since 1985, and I'll get back to this hotel story just to give you a little brief background on me. I've been doing real estate since 1985, and I did a lot of buy, fix, and flip, but I was doing a lot of real estate back then. Did over 300 buy, fix, and flips. Sold in my career about 1,800 homes. And on top of that, Edgar, I owned over 89 units in my career, and I owned the Remax, had 70 agents working for me. So I did a lot of real estate. So I had a lot of experience. And I felt, although I didn't have the experience, Edgar, to become I didn't have the experience of the whole being running a hotel, but I had a lot of experience in renovation hotel, excuse me, for renovations, buy, fixing, and flipping, and all the real estate deals that were happening. But um, at that point, when we were doing the due diligence with this hotel, she didn't want to sign the LOI or the contract. So I kept calling and calling and calling, and we kept talking and talking, but it didn't happen. And that's very important for anybody that is going to do a deal. You got to get the paperwork signed, at least an LOI. Okay, because if not, you're spinning your wheel, you're wasting your time, and the deal's not going to happen because you've got a dream. You don't have something real, and you're busy spending money, and it didn't happen.
Do you feel like you were wasting your time doing all the visits that you did to the hotel while she hadn't signed anything?
Could I tell you, it was, for me, it was one of the biggest experience that I've learned. And when I started in the venture, when I started visualizing and seeing, wow, this hotel, I could really put it together. I saw everything that I loved about this hotel. I started with ChatGPT. Me and ChatGPT became very good friends. For the next 4 months, every day, I would argue and talk and ask questions to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT would be like, no, you have to do it this way. You have to put a plan of action. You have to get an SBA. You have to get a pitch deck. You have to do all these things that it taught me how to become an expert, not 100% expert, but a real good expert that I could ask questions. On top of that, in the beginning, when I would have conversations with her, I would say to ChatGPT, hey, listen, I want to put this deal together. How do I talk to her in a way that she understands that uh, she is a hotel owner? How do I talk to her like a hotel owner? And ChatGPT would tell me, but I told ChatGPT I wanted Sandler's style. There is a book out there, how to ride a bike, how to ride a bike in a seminar. Um, and it's by Sandler. His name is Sandler. And he teaches a way how to become a very good salesperson, how to sell to somebody. So I highly recommend you look at that book because it's excellent. So the style was that way, not seeming too needy, talking to her in a way that she would understand it. And little by little, I started learning how to talk to her, how to put the deal together, how to put the pitch deck, how to sell it to SBA, how to get all the paperwork in order. And it's very interesting. I don't think I wasted my time. I think I needed that part, that piece of the puzzle for myself, so I could continue on to different other projects that I could come together. Now I'm very confident of what I'm doing because I studied hard, because I had my want, that hotel. And it made me get up in the morning at 5 a.m. and finish at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. at night, with that.
Excellent. You took action, not just learning, you actually went after something that was outside of your comfort zone, really, because you haven't done anything of that scale. But your experience with all the other things that you've put together and added up made you feel comfortable. Like, okay, this is a little bit bigger, but I feel comfortable that I can do it. And then you use the tools that were available to you with the ChatGPT AI. Excellent. Do you know why she isn't selling it or doesn't want to sign that LOI?
Well, I'm thinking that she had a couple of people on the hook, and they were all swimming around, and she just wanted, one of the red flags that was for me, and maybe to the viewers, is that she wanted a deposit, which everybody's entitled to, but she wanted a non-refundable deposit. Now, I don't know about you, but I told her, don't you know I'm Spanish? I don't do no non-refundable. So I'm willing to put a deposit down, but it's got to be refundable. If I can't get the loan, I'm not going to give you $500,000 to throw away on a gamble. I don't gamble. I don't take chances. I want to make sure. We're talking about a $3.5 million deal, plus another $6 million to renovate the hotel, because the hotel needed total renovations and new furniture. And on top of that, I needed for another $1 million to run the hotel for a year. And on top of that, I needed another $1 million for points and all the expenses for the closing cost. So overall, it was about an $11 million project. And I learned it. I started, 3.5. Oh, I'm only going to need about 1 million or 2 million. She was telling me as well, hey, you only need about 2 million. Bullshit. You needed about $6 million if you're going to redo an 1852 hotel, 1852 hotel, and renovate it, and just put in $2 million. They're going to come in and they're going to be like, same shit. Oh, it's the same hotel. Why go over there? But if you're going
Yeah.
to put in $6 million, and you're going to make it badass, and you're going to do new furniture, and then outside you do the LED lights, the blue lights outlining the hotel, they'd be like, whoa, we got to go over there and check that out. Now you got something.
Yeah, 2 million is probably her standard, and then another investor is going to come in. They're going to want to do another level, so 6 million would be your standards. All right, so hotel. What is it your main focus today that you're doing besides looking at hotels?
My main focus is partnering up with people that are very experienced, that want to invest in real estate. Let's say, for instance, in single family homes, maybe co-living, maybe sober living, VA living. Right now, I'm doing my due diligence with things like that. Same thing. It's complicated when you're talking about high health insurance kind of places to live in. So we're looking anywhere between, it could be 3 million to $6 million project. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're going to make money, but you got to get those connections and family office, and those are the kind of things that I'm doing right now. And also, I'm looking to buy single family homes, multi-families. Right now, I'm buying a 4 family here in New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. And just picking it up for 9.25, totally renovating it. Once I move there, I'm going to move there for maybe about 6 months to a year. It doesn't become rent control in New Jersey. So once it's not rent control, get this, they allow Airbnb if the owner lives there. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and we could probably pick up anywhere between 5 and 6 thousand per apartment per month in the Airbnb, which is nice.
Nice. Yeah, that's gonna be a nice one there. When do you close there?
January.
Okay.
In fact, I just put a deposit today, 50,000 deposit, and we should be closing in January.
Excellent. And okay, let's go with this. We're an owners club, right? Pace Morby's high level mentorship. Have you set up your Mount Everest?
I set up my Mount Everest, and in the beginning, I wanted to help contractors, Latin contractors, realize their dream and unite a group of contractors that we could buy a house, fix it up as a group, and then take that money and keep building on it and buying a building for income for all of us. But I'm not sure if that would be my Mount Everest right now because there's a lot of details like maybe some people don't have the Social Security. That maybe they have their is it the ITN, their ITN, the tin, and
Yeah.
it's a little bit more complicated. So I haven't done that. So one of the things right now that I need now is income flow. I mean, my income is very good right now, but I wanna reach it to a point that I don't have to worry about you know, oh, am I secure enough? And it could be different levels for everybody. But I don't know about you, but I think that Latin people, even though they have money, they're always thinking that they're one paycheck away from bankruptcy. They just keep on working, they're like, oh my god, I gotta have more, because you gotta feel that security.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of them have gone through, lacking and needing, so they tend to keep everything they have because they're worried about being in that situation again.
Right, exactly.
You spoke of having your income is good right now. What is your income coming from? Is it all from rentals, or do you have a W-2, or are you
All
just an
from rentals.
entrepreneur?
I've never really worked for a living. Always hustled. I was a closer. um I don't know. I was always a salesperson, did a lot of sales, but in 2010, I started working for a guy named Mystery. I don't know if you ever heard of him, from VH1. He had a TV show, The World's Greatest Pickup Artist, and he would teach shy guys to be able to talk to girls. So when I saw him in TV, 2008 the shit hit the fan in real estate. So 2010, I said, what am I going to do? So I started selling for him, talking to these shy guys all around the world, and we would sell seminars to talk to mystery. In fact, you could look him up. VH1, he had two programs there. So I said I want to work for him. So I started working for him and selling online, right? Selling these programs, these seminars. And then after that, I started working for a guy named Jason Fladlin. It's Rapid Crush, and he would sell a business in a box in Amazon, for Amazon products. And I started selling for him, and I started becoming a really good closer. So I would work for him for about 10 days a month, and we were doing about 200,000 in sales a month by myself. So I was doing about 2.4 million a year, but he ended up letting me go. The reason why is like he's like, Derb, I don't really want to talk to people. I just want to sell the product and sell the videos. I don't want to show up and help somebody. I want them to buy the product. So he would rather, instead of me selling a $50,000 product, he wanted to sell a $5,000 product. So he's out of the picture, and the videos would sell for him. So that's what I've done all my life, doing sales. But my income right now, I don't want to do closing and sales. What I want to do is just build income. You get tired. I'm no spring chicken. And I started selling when I was 18. But if I have to do it, I'll do it. But I just want to have fun, laugh, and have partners and be able to make money together. Because I always say, no man is an island. You got to have friends. Even the most powerful people need friends, to make it. And if you want to make it big, I think that that's one of the fastest way to do it.
Yeah, well said there. Having friends, but also having the right friends. If you're with the wrong friends, they're just going to bring you down, or they're not going to let you grow. Having the wrong friends when you are trying to grow, they could pull you back down, and that's not what you want. You want friends that are going to go up or going to push you up and tell you. Um, I just watched Good Will Hunting again recently, and I remembered at the end, Ben Affleck's talking to Matt Damon. He says, "Hey, aren't you going to take this opportunity?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Look, man, I do what I do for you because one day I want to wake up and you not be here in the house to pick you up. I want you to go and move because you have so much more potential than the rest of us." That's the type of friends you want, not
Yeah.
the ones that are going to keep you back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And there's an interesting book out there by Robert Kiyosaki, which is called The Quadrant. And I highly recommend The Quadrant for you if you really want to understand why you are in the situation that you are, whether it's good or bad. There's nothing wrong with that, but you want to know, why am I here? If you're an employee, if you're working for an employee and you dream of becoming, doing real estate, and you're still hanging out with employees, you're going to be an employee. If you start hanging out with entrepreneurs and you learn from that entrepreneurs, you're going to be an entrepreneur. If you want to hang out to business people, you're going to be a business guy. So you want to be able to know what is your line, your bloodline. Because what happens is, there's a lot of people, they're like, okay, my father worked in the factory, my grandfather worked in the factory, I work in a factory. But you want to be able to break that habit, and you want to be able to say, okay, how could I, you know how could I jump the shark? How could I change my direction in my life? Well, read the quadrant and also start hanging out with the people you want to be with. My mother always said, hey, if I want to know who you are, I'm going to see who you hang out with, and I can tell you who you are. That Spanish saying, you know and I truly believe that.
Another brilliant nugget there. We've heard that many times being on the podcast. So many people say being with the who you hang out with and being the average of the people you hang out with. Earlier, you mentioned about working with mystery that you heard about him and you learned about him. You said, "I want to work for that guy." How did you end up finding him to work with them?
Oh, that's a real good question, Edgar. I was when it back in 2008, when I closed down my office. It was about 2010. I was feeling disgusted about real estate. I didn't want to know nothing about real estate. I said, you know what? For me to work since I was 18 years old, and then I was like 2008, and then to for the market to drop, I really didn't have nothing to do. So I'm like, I'm going to reinvent myself. So all of a sudden, I see Mystery, the world's greatest pickup artist, is going to show these shy, lovable guys, even virgins, to how to talk to women. And I'm like, wow, I'm looking at this. I'm like, and all of a sudden I said, you know what? I'm going to work for that guy. I'm going to work for him. I don't care. I love that guy. So I found out when he was having a seminar in New York City. So I signed up for the seminar, and I made them like me, trust me, love me. And within 3 to 4 months, they asked me to work with them. And it's that simple, And I told them what I wanted. When you're focused in what you want and you truly believe in yourself, with the confidence, how you speak, how you look at people, how you make them feel, wow, this guy's secure. He really wants to work with me. I told him I'm the best salesperson. You're not going to get any better. And he's like, wow, okay, you know. And then I befriend one of the owner's girlfriend, and I started talking to her and making her laugh, you know, and got her to like me and trust me. Then she's like, you should hire that guy. And I asked her after they hired me, she's like, I didn't say anything. And I'm like, that's bullshit, you know, you did. So I love her. Casey is her name. And yeah, I never forget her, because you know what, she really helped me tell the guys, hey, listen, try them out. And it was nice because we made a lot of money. They made a lot of money.
Hey, that's another incredible set of advice. That reminded me of reading the book Think and Grow Rich when he wanted to go work with Edison. He goes, I'm going to work for that dude. And he figured out a way. And you did the same thing. You put your focus on it, you put your mind to it, you saw it, and you said you were going to do it. And a lot of people don't understand that that mindset can bring so much stuff when you're calling for it, bringing it, you're firing those neurons to bring it to you, telling the universe to bring it to you instead of being like negative about, I'm not going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Oh, I can't do it. They're not going to look at me. Yeah, you say that. That's what's going to happen. That's why so many people say, if you think you can't, you can't. If you think you can, you can, because it's your mindset actually just thinking that that's going to bring what you're thinking.
Exactly, exactly. And Edgar, I could tell you, and I could tell everybody, listen, I'm going to tell you a quick little story. Every year in January 1st is the most quietest day of the year. January 1st, because everybody's partying, and then the next day, you know, they're resting. So every year I would write out all my goals. And you know, like everybody, you write down all your goals. And I learned this from what's his name? Tony Robbins. I learned this from Tony Robbins. I did all his seminars and seminars, and I've met him and I've rolled with him, Date with Destiny, and all these different things. You know, all these things that his programs did. In fact, I was going to work for Tony Robbins' partner, and I met him in uh, Zig Ziglar's. I had breakfast with Zig Ziglar at one time, and his partner was there, and we liked each other so much that we became friends for years. As in, his name is Bob Quintana, and Bob Quintana asked me to work with him, but it didn't work out. But we became friends till this day. After all these years, we became friends, and anyway, getting back to my story, right, I wrote all my goals, and like everybody says, what do you say? Hey, I want a Rolex. I want a boat. I want to go to Hawaii. I want to travel. You know, I want to have fun. I want to be debt free. I want to be rich, right? And guess what? I wrote down all those things, and I did it in 1 year, because whatever you visualize, you materialize if you truly believe in it. And I would do this every year, and I would get whatever I want. In fact, I got the Rolex, I got the boat, I got the Porsche, I got had money in the bank, and I told the universe I want to be debt free. I didn't tell him I wanted to file bankruptcy. I forgot about that. But guess what? I was debt free. I didn't have any debt. And, yes, I was upset, but you know what? I forgot, because it's so simple to forget things. The things that you do that to be successful, you forget. That's why you need a journal. Write things down. When things are working, you write it down. When things are not working, you write it down and start creating a path. Because when you create that path, you're creating your future in the past. Okay, when you start creating yourself, I could tell you, if you're doing something now, you're going to get a result later. So why not create that future that you want by working now on, so you got to pick. You got to pick your friends. You got to pick the things that you want in life, and you got to write goals. Because if you write small chunk goals, you're gonna, get to the pathway where you want. And it's always worked for me, but sometimes you just forget because you get like disfigured. That's why you got to write it down and say, all right, what's the formula that will get me to what I want? Did it make sense?
Another, yeah, yeah, another extraordinary set of advice there. Hey, you're watching this, you need to be taking notes. Go back and listen to this. There's so many nuggets right there. What you materialize, what you visualize. I mean, that's fantastic. If you're not writing down your goals, it's just a dream. When you write what you write, you invite. We're talking about the journaling as well. What you frequently see is your frequency. There's just another little catchphrases in this, but they make so much sense and they do wonders. Give us a like. He's giving you so much good information here. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Drop a comment. Let us know which one you like. Are you going to start writing down your goals? We're not far from the new year. You don't have to wait till the new year to do it. Do it now. You have your phone. Your phone has multiple ways for you to set notes, set messages. Just do it. What you write is what you invite. Like most entrepreneurs, I don't sleep enough. So the hours that I do sleep need to be of better quality. The 8 Sleep Pod, it has been a game changer for me. Perfect temperature all night, less snoring, and I actually wake up refreshed. And my wife does as well, which is a huge plus. Happy wife, happy life. You can try it through my affiliate link below. Now we go back to the episode.
Exactly. Edgar, one thing you want to do is when you write down your goals, you take your goals and transfer it to your Google Calendar. And a good friend of mine, Pace Morby, always says, you gotta, if you want to make things happen, you gotta write it, put it in to your Google Calendar. Take all those goals, their boulders, the rocks, and fill it into your yearly calendar, and now you have a goal where you want to set. So it's magical.
Yeah, talking about pace. So you've been talking about a lot of mentors: Tony Robbins, Mystery, Robert
Zig
Kiyosaki,
Ziglar, yeah.
Pace Morby, Zig Ziglar. When did you start investing in yourself? Because that's what you're doing, is you invested in yourself, right?
Oh, I started when I was 22 years old. I'm 60 now. I started when I was 22 years old. I was always making just under $100,000. And every year, my first year in real estate, when I was 18, I made $7,000. And I worked 7 days a week. I had holes in my shoe, and when it rained, I used to take my business cards and put it there because I would get wet, right? So I would put my business card because there were holes because I was door knocking so much. I made 7 grand. But I started when I was 22, and I never made over $100,000. So I went to Tony Robbins' Unlimited Power course that he had, Unlimited Power, and walking on the fire, so I walked on fire. And his teachings got me over the hump of making over $100,000 for the year. And I never made anything less. In fact, I got all the way up to, I want to say, about $1.3 million for 1 year of working. I made, in 1 year's time. So anything is possible, but you got to believe it first. If you don't believe it, you're not making anything. What you believe, really, that's the money that you're going to make. If you believe that you could buy 100 homes, you're going to buy 100 homes. You just got to set your goals to buy 100 homes. But if you think, you're like, oh yeah, I believe I'm going to buy 100 homes, but you don't really believe it, you ain't getting it. So you got to start working on yourself so people can believe you, so you could get your goals. So yes, Unlimited Power, Tony Robbins, and I've always listened to people. I invest a lot of money in learning what people are teaching, because guess what? I don't get to experience that. I get to jump instead of, um, what's the guy that's teaching us, Tim Stories. He said one thing that blew my mind. This guy says, listen, if you're going through life like this, you're working, you're doing your things, I'm going to teach you how to do this. And those are the kind of things that you want. If you get the information of people, you're going to take leaps instead of running and figuring out and going like an ant and trying to figure things out. You want to get experiences from people like Edgar. Okay, he's giving you people an experience so you guys don't waste your time and start taking leaps and jumps and getting to your goals. And those are what he's doing right now. It's invaluable, because you're tapping into 60 years of my life that I'm narrowing it down to instances that I jumped the shark to make me successful.
Yes, yes, yes. That's one of the reasons I do this podcast is so I can learn from people that are doing great things like you. People listening, this mindset thing is not just something we're saying. He's not selling you anything. If you want to check out another episode, Armando Cruz, one of my first episodes on the podcast, he had a mindset shift after being in the States for like 10 years. He didn't do anything. And then one day he's like, hey, I got to change my life. Changed his mindset, became more grateful, became thinking positive and bringing stuff to himself. And now he's got over 250 doors in less than 5 years. Dude's doing amazing things. So you got to believe in yourself. You got to invest in yourself. If you have $5,000, invest in the community, invest in mentorship for yourself to help you get away from the mindset shift. I was just watching a short that came up on social media. This woman went to sell some gold because she wanted to buy a computer for her daughter. And it's gold that she's had for years. So gold, has shot up a lot recently, and it's always going up in price. This is not financial advice, but she goes and she's expecting to get $400. And luckily, the pawn shop's honest about it. And they say, hey, look, we can give you a lot more than it is. What do you think's a big number? She's like, oh, $700, $800. And that's big to her because that's where her mindset is. Her mindset is limited to here. And then they said, no, think a lot more than that. And she's like, $1,200. To her, $1,200 is a lot. But they're like, no, we have $10,000 worth of gold here in scrap. She's like, what? Oh my God. So it's another analogy that people have told me is think of a balloon. Your mind is like a balloon, a helium balloon, right? You let go of a helium balloon, if it's inside of a building, it's gonna hit that ceiling. That's as high as it's gonna go. If you go to a higher building, it's gonna go higher. But you take it outside, it's gonna keep on going to the end. Don't limit yourself. Remove that ceiling. That's gonna help you out so much. Well said.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Edgar. One advice, one thing that really helped me in my life. I don't know if you've ever done it, but there's a course that it's called Landmark Education. Landmark Education, El Foro in Spanish. And that really helped me understand me. In fact, they do it online, and you only do it once in a lifetime. And there's really nothing for you to learn, but you're going to learn a lot about yourself and what's holding you back. And like we were talking about your belief system. And on top of that, they teach you about integrity. They teach you on being in on time with things, because believe it or not, those little things will make a difference in life. Mindset is number one, but integrity is number two. Okay, so yeah, if you ever get a chance, you could look it up. Landmark Education. Um, they are all over the world. It's awesome. They're online.
Great. I'll take a look at that as well. That'll be good to. That's one of the biggest things a lot of people don't really know themselves. They think they do, but when you sit down and ask why you're doing something or what your actual goal is, or dreams, besides just saying stuff, things that you actually fight for. A lot of people say that they'll die for their family, but how many of you actually live for your family that you are now? Do the things to live now and not try to just die for them.
Exactly. Exactly. Edgar, let me tell you, and to the young people, and whether you're Latin or, whatever, what we want to do is we want to help. We want to pay it forward. We've been in this earth for a certain amount of time. And what we want to do is make it easier for you to continue growing and believing that you could do it. And I believe in you, and I'm sure Edgar believes in you. But do you believe in you yourself? So it's important to do that.
Definitely. Usually I ask my guests to give a word of advice, but you've given so many there. What got you started to not be a W-2 employee when you were young? You just straight went into being your own business owner.
That's so interesting. And going back to the quadrant, my grandfather was a businessman in Cuba. I'm Cuban and Puerto Rican. My grandfather, businessman, he owned gasoline stations and also buses. He was a businessman. My father, businessman. Me, businessman. I never worked. Really, let me think. I've never really worked for anybody. Never had a W two. Always believed in sales and commission. Always worked for commission, and it's really about yourself. So thank God I've never had that. But you know why? Because my father was a business guy. He was an entrepreneur. My mom too. She had her own beauty salon, entrepreneur. And my grandfather, entrepreneur. I'm sure his great grandfather, and grandfather and great grandfather, entrepreneurs. So I'm a bloodline of business people. So I can't work for anybody. I can't. I mean, I'll be the worst worker, but I work hard, but I can't work hard for a salary. I can't be boxed in with that. So, if I don't know. It's everybody's different, but for me, never had a W two.
Everybody's definitely different. The entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Usually, if you're like the way Derby said, not a good employee, you couldn't work for somebody, you're probably an entrepreneur or be working with a small business owner. And going back to investing in yourself, for those that are out there and want to know how the best way to with yourself is, remember, this is not financial advice. This is our experience. But become a business owner by opening up your LLC. I have a link below for PCS, Prime Corporate Services. They can get you set up. But the reason you want to create that LLC to get it started is because once you start getting that business open, then you can start getting the education, start paying for mentorships, and you can use that to write off. Consult your CPA, how to do that, to do it properly. Again, this is the way we've been able to do it and be able to reduce the expenses when you're going to invest in yourself. Derby, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
They could look me up in Blink, Derby Perez. You could also find me on Facebook, Derby Perez, and Instagram _Derby Perez. You could find me there, and I am setting up in January all my platforms. So I'm going to be doing that. And I wanted to tell you I want to say after I left Mystery and I started working with Jason Fladlin, Rapid Crush that I was talking about. I started working out of my laptop, and I decided to just travel. I sold everything, and I traveled every 3 months to Brazil working on a laptop and just selling marketing. I did marketing for 15 years and started selling on a laptop, making over six figures, always made over six figures, and just working on your laptop. So there's a lot of ideas out there that you could work and make the kind of money you want to make on a laptop. And it's funny because people over there, I didn't know anybody in Brazil. I just went to a place and worked on my computer and started dating people, because I was looking for a wife. And now I'm married and I have a 2 month old son. So the craziest thing, let me show you. This is my little monkey over here. So anything is possible. So now doing my thing, also working on the LLC. So anybody could do what you do. Just gotta Got to start. And remember, in the beginning, it's uncomfortable because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So you have to get friends, learn fast, unite, do tests, and things like that. So yeah, you could find me in those platforms right now. But whatever you need, I'm always around.
Thank you. What can people reach out to you for? What do you need help with?
For me, what do I need help with? Right now, I think that I'm networking a lot with a lot of owners club members, and right now I don't need help with things. What I do need is a direction. We need a plan of action, what we're going to be focusing on, because we want to do something big, not something, maybe a one family or two. I don't want that. What we want to do is 30, 40, 50, 100 homes we want to buy, and hold on to it for cash flow. So if anybody knows single family homes, anything under, I want to say under 75,000, let me know. Call me. I'm interested in buying. I'm looking for that.
Any particular areas?
Midwest,
Okay.
Midwest, even Ohio or different areas. But as long as the home is livable, I don't want to wreck, and make sure it's not, if you have it, make if it's a pocket listing or if it's offline, or if somebody that or inheritance, let me know about that. But if it's on Zillow and stuff like that, we already look at those things. We already have a team looking at that stuff.
Do you have your buy box set up yet? Pace has been
But
pushing that.
yes, oh, thank you for reminding me. Derby's buybox.com, DERBYS buybox.com, and you could see all the things and you could contact me through there.
Yeah, definitely. So if you've got a property, send it out to Derby. Go to his website, see it there. Hit him up on Facebook or Instagram. But another thing he didn't mention, he's probably shy about it. As myself, we're always looking for private money partners, private money lenders for
Yeah.
properties that we want to do. Like I'm looking to increase my sober living properties that I have, looking to expand in different areas. You being in New Jersey, if you want more information on sober living, which you mentioned earlier,
I
I can
do.
definitely help you out with that.
All
Um,
right.
if you are an operator watching this and you are looking to get more properties, please reach out to me because I have a connection with so many people, the 50 plus people we've had on the podcast with Derby that have access to properties that can hopefully work for sober living because it is such a good feeling to help out these individuals and they are grateful to be in properties that we keep very clean and well maintained, not the slumlord, and being able to see them in the WhatsApp group progressing in a positive way that just touches my heart there. That's just almost priceless.
Edgar, I am. That's what exactly I'm doing. I put together 16 OC members, and we are looking at maybe sober living, VA living, like I was talking to you about before. And I would love to discuss with you a little bit more about sober living, and how is it, and get a little bit of feedback on what you would do or what you wouldn't do, if you would do it again if you had the choice.
Yeah, I'll definitely do it again. We can talk about it here. I know
Yeah.
you're running low on time. Um, One thing is I have one that's by myself in Pasadena, Texas. We have 11 individuals there. The biggest thing about it is finding a good operator that's going to be able to vet the individuals and be able to get a good inflow and hopefully even a waiting list for the property to have people there that are going to pay for their expenses because there are different levels of sober living. The one we have there is individually paid private money, so it's not as much income available as one that is run by grants or paid through grants. Those you have to get the operator certified, the property certified, and then there's a chance to get more income, more steady flow, and higher rates. The second property I have is with shout out to Adam Colburn in Knoxville, Tennessee. That one we rent out to Oxford House, and it's basically a lease The Oxford House manages the rest. We're just landlords there.
Really? And how many units? How many rooms are that there?
That one we have eight individuals. So it's not really based on the rooms. It's based on the square footage per the room because with sober living house you can put multiple people in a room depending on the square footage. Some states are 50 square foot per person. Some are 60. It just depends on the state, the county, the city. Oxford House, I think they do, depending again, each Oxford House operator is slightly different in each state. But the ones in Tennessee, I think they do a max of two people per room. But my house in Pasadena, we have one big master bedroom that can easily fit three people. That's what they have there.
Wow, that's interesting. And so that's good. Yeah. And do they pay it the sober living? They pay them themselves because it's private. So it's a lot less than they would be like you said, a grant or the state or insurance would pay for it.
Right. And it's all based on your operator. If you have just an operator that's been doing it, but they're not certified, they can only charge so much. If you are certified and then that property is ready as well with different amenities and like sprinkler systems, depending on your state, that can increase the level. Then you have the levels for like celebrities and high net worth individuals that want a lot of privacy for the property. So then that's another level, which I haven't got to yet. But yeah, that's why I'm looking for operators that want to expand their current operations and always looking for individuals to help out with that because we have a multitude of leads for properties that can hopefully work.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, my group, that's what we're looking for. And we're seeing if that's, the route to go through, to sober living and see if that's something that we want to do. We're still deciding, we're doing a due diligence because, the biggest thing is if you're going to build a house, the most time that takes is designing the house, right? Getting all the approvals and all that stuff. The rest of the stuff is going to be easy and fast because now you've got a plan of action. So right now we're doing a due diligence. It's been how long that we've been in Scottsdale? I think it was what, 2 months already, 2 or 3 months,
About 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah.
Oh,
So
no,
it's
no.
been,
Yeah.
yeah, 6 weeks. So we've
Yeah,
been doing our due diligence in about 6 weeks, and we're seeing if we want to jump into that because, of course, you're going to need money, and you're going to need time. So that's something that everybody, those 16 OC members, got to think about and see if they want to jump into that venture.
definitely. Is Adam Colburn part of those 16 people?
No, no.
Get him involved as well because he's really pushing to it. And he's actually into another way to run the operations. And he's looking for people to train that way, that
Oh,
can be
really?
trained that way to
Okay. I'll look
really
them up.
maximize the opportunities to expand.
Nice. Okay.
Cool.
Wow.
That's it, man. That's it for your episode. Thank you so much.
That's
Shout
it.
out. Yeah.
What, a half an hour?
We 5 minutes from an hour.
Brother, you know what? Anytime you want me to come back again and maybe we could discuss a couple of different things, maybe, just let me know. I would love to, continue the conversation and maybe bring in a third wheel and maybe we could do something. I would love to do something with Mando. I love Mando. He's a good friend of mine, and he believes a lot in manifestation, and I'm starting to listen to a lot about manifestation because there are times that you feel depressed, so you got to be careful. So in YouTube, there's a lot of manifestation um, um, videos. Let me tell you, they're really, really good because you have stinking thinking. Forget it. It's not gonna get you to you where you want to go. And sometimes, you fall off track. You wear down. Your battery is on recharge. And you know what? Those times are gonna happen. But what you have to realize, okay, how long am I going to be depressed? Okay, I'm going to be depressed. I'm being depressed today. It's okay. It's okay to be depressed, but tomorrow I'm not going to be depressed. Tomorrow I'm going to take action again. And that's what you got to set yourself up is for the rebound. It's how many times you get up. You're going to go down. How many times are you going to get up and keep going? So,
Yes, it's thinking. I like that. Yeah, ebb and flows. You have to know one end of the spectrum to be able to enjoy the other side of the spectrum. So that's well said. Yeah, manifesting Mando. Shout out to him. He was one of the guests in the podcast before as well. Good people there. He's got
yeah,
an amazing story as well. You can go back and check out that episode after you finish listening to this one.
beautiful. Oh my God. Awesome.
Yeah. So hey, big shout out. Thank you, Derby. Reach out to him.
Thank
Operators, reach out to me. Reach out to us. Private money lending. You don't have to be an experienced lender to invest money with us, and you're going to be protected through real estate. Just make sure it all goes through title. Don't send money directly to anybody. Just go from there.
Yeah, be careful. Get people that you could trust. No monkey business. I like people with like Edgar, um, and myself. No monkey business. What you want to do is always protect the people because it's hard to get people that could trust each other. It's hard. So what you want to do is you want to hold on to those people, and if there's a mistake, there's a mistake. You live up to it and you take care of it right away, and grow together.
Yeah, communication is key when you're a lender or a borrower. Make sure the people are communicating.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Derby. On to the next episode. We'll see you then. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel. It's free, and drop a comment. Let us know which one of these uh, nuggets of information resonates the most with you. Till the next one.
Bye.
Catch this next podcast where you can start your dreams and start to own your time the way these other guests have.